Good afternoon and welcome to Laurel Park, and thank you for joining us here on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. Today at the races is presented by our friends at Fidelity First, and they're also the sponsors of race 7 today, a very competitive City of Laurel Stakes. So
Yeah,
thank you to
extremely
Fidelity
competitive.
First. Thank you all for joining us here. It doesn't feel much like late November, does it,
It
today?
doesn't, not at all.
I wore too many
Unfortunately, I know
layers.
what's around the corner. Yeah, it's still a little chill in the air down here in the paddock, but out in the sun, yeah, you're going to have to take down one layer, I guess. Yeah, we'll see.
Perhaps. We shall see. But excellent day on tap here, of course. We do have that early post time today at 12 o'clock noon. We have 11 races on tap. We do have some key scratches throughout this afternoon, but I think an excellent card. And
Yeah.
we couldn't have asked for a better situation. We have beautiful weather, an excellent card, big field sizes, and 3 carryovers.
3 carryovers. We got the Beer and Bourbon Festival. It's a lot for everybody to be, just have a great day, come out, relax, enjoy it, send it through the windows, have some fun. Get your friends together, put some money together, and try to take some down. These carryovers are good. We've got wide open races, so don't be afraid to box 4 or 5 horses in your exactas and tries and hit something really, really big.
And the early pick 5 is a mandatory payout. A lot of the time we see that pay 3 out of 5,
Yeah.
sometimes 4 out of 5 as well. The late pick 5, we do have a carryover. But wanted to mention to everybody, head out for the Brew and Bourbon Festival today. Again, that does start at 12 p.m. noon and carries on until 5 o'clock tonight. Enjoy over 60 different beers and bourbons. And learn how to play the ponies at the Wagering 101 tent. So that's happening at the Carriage Room and the Grandstand Apron. It's a glorious day to come out and join us here at Laurel Park. Check out all the recent renovations, too. A lot has changed since this time last year, wouldn't you say?
It's like when we talked about Maryland Million Day. Same thing. If you're here, don't just stay in one spot. Take 20 minutes, a half an hour, and really go through the whole facility, see what we've got to offer, see the changes that have been made. I think you're going to be amazed. If this is your first visit, hopefully we impress you and we get you to come right back.
Yeah, welcome, and definitely come on back. We get to today's carryovers and our featured wagers of the day. We do have those carryovers first starting in race 1. That is in the Super High 5, over $4,700 in that. I think that carried over the last 2 races yesterday. It was very tough to hit. The Rainbow 6 carryover, we had no live tickets going into the last race yesterday, so a $16,000 carryover today starts in race 6 on this 11 race program. And the late pick 5 carryover over $3,700 today as well starts in race 7. So there's carryovers galore, but Keith, there's also some excellent pick 3s, pick 4s on the card too.
You can just string them right along.
Yeah.
If you get knocked out, hey, get back up, give it another shot. And you've got value along the way. I couldn't come up with any big long shot, but some steady strings of 4 or 5 to 1 shots. You hook them together. We saw yesterday some of our payouts. 3 to 1, 6 to 1 exactas paying $60, $70. The value is there. It's here, and it's not going to leave anytime soon.
And you have a pick 6 ticket. I have a pick 6 ticket. Interested to see how those kind of match up.
Okay.
And our opinions of the sequence. We'll take a look at our track and weather conditions, as we just previously alluded to. Well, it's a glorious fall-tastic day, as we like to say. Fast and firm on the turf for these 11 races on tap. We do start early at 12 p.m. noon. So let's get straight into the action. We've got a lot of ground to cover, and we start things off in race 1. We do start the rolling Super High 5 in this particular race. That takes place in every single race of 7 or more betting interests. And we also have the early pick 5 again. Super High 5 carryover 47.42, and that early pick 5 that does is a mandatory payout. So play a reasonable ticket. We head out to the Dahlia Turf Course at 5.5 furlongs for this non-winners of 4 other than $10,000 claimer. This is an interesting condition and an interesting race. Keith, how did you see it?
Yeah, this is a condition we don't see too often, but I like it. I like the 4 in life. The straight 4 in life is a good thing. One thing we've noticed the last couple of days in the racing here, this turf course, we're kind of in a little bit of a drought. We've been in Maryland, and it's definitely firming up quite a bit. We saw allowance fillies 3/4 going and 109 and change yesterday. I'm going to be hedging towards front runners. I haven't seen any horses close with a real flourish. Not saying that some of the horses from the back of the pack can't get there and get in the mix, I'm going to hedge towards horses that are a little bit more tactical in this turf course today. First race, a great example, the 7 Mr. Stream. I know we've got a horse that draws in. Escapist certainly could be the favorite, has shown speed in the past, but it looks like he's lost a step or two recently. He takes a drop, the 13 Escapist. Mr. Stream, he kind of teased us a little bit with 3 really good races in a row. He's met some tougher company of late, takes the drop down. I think if he clears this field, he goes a long way.
I think not only tougher company, but very fast. I mean, I know you're saying that they're going faster on this firmer turf course,
Yeah.
but 21 and 2, 43
Yeah.
and 4 for the half. We don't see that on the turf course here at Laurel. So,
No.
and he's not probably going to face the equally as fast horses in this race. So, I agree. I respect him in the mix. I think he might be able to have the tactical advantage if he's on his A game,
Yes.
which sometimes he goes in and out of form. I liked the 6 Minor Legend a bit.
Yeah.
This is another one who's taken a big drop in class from Allowance Company last time. And he was 8th, beaten over 4 lengths, but I don't think it was that bad. He was kind of down on the inside. He drew the rail. He didn't have a lot of room to really do his best running the entirety of the race. And I also kind of think that this is a horse that wants to be closer to the pace, maybe just rate about 2 lengths off of him. That's where his most success comes from. So I'm hoping with a better post position, a bit more speed, maybe he can find himself a bit closer to the flow of the
They've
race.
done well off the claim with this horse. They plucked him for 10,000 back at Pimlico. I think you're right. Last time I did go watch the video, I was expecting, I was like, when's he going to kick it in? When's this horse going to kick it? He just didn't kick it in. The drop down in class is the right move. I think he has a little bit more speed, as you said, Gabby. He can get maybe covered up, maybe tip to the outside today and come with a stronger run.
Okay, and you also use the 12 Uncle Tito, Kevin Gomez aboard for Uncle Tito. He last time out he checked badly, kind of at the half-mile pole, and I thought lost his momentum. But can you put a lot of stock into it, considering he still is a closing sprinter?
He primarily is, but what I liked last time in the last 2 races, even he's shown some gate speed. He was right up with the pace last time, but after about a 16th or an eighth of a mile, he was really just jammed up down inside, had a steady check, kind of just cost him. Probably took a little bit of what his late kick out of him. He made a move and flattened. I think from this outside post, if he breaks like he's done the last 2 and shows that speed, he can clear away from any trouble and maybe tuck in to be about 3 or 4 off of it and then go ahead and make his run. I think the trouble the last 2 races is taking the starch out of his rally.
You never want trouble at turf sprints because it's extremely hard to recover from. We get to the second race on the program, the first of our 7 stakes action, Smart Halo, going 6 furlongs on the main track. And we'll start off with a replay. We'll backtrack and go to Keeneland on the 22nd of October here. And Toby Girl, this is where Toby Girl and your favorite in here, Tecalita, matched up. And oftentimes when we see Steve Asmussen horses show that much gate speed, it's a good sign, in my opinion. And this is exactly what we saw from Toby Girl. She's down on the inside. She broke extremely quickly. And Tecalita kept her in range the entire way. She was relentless in pressing her to the outside. I liked the performance from both of them, but interesting enough, I'm going to Toby Girl today.
Yeah, you might say Toby Girl kind of benefited, especially being her first race. Tecalita a little bit more experience, that she's going to take a little bit more out of this race, handling that pressure. She's on her left lead there past the 8th pole, switches late. Tecalita, though, I think she's going to come back, run a good one again. She's second-time Lasix. That was first Lasix. She's had a race over this racetrack where Toby Girl hasn't. And I think some other speed to the outside, Riley's choices. I think her best game is to go to the front. She's not a real big filly. I think she's going to be sent from the outside. I think she's going to be the one that kind of presses Toby Girl today. I think Tecalita can come from a little bit further off the pace.
I definitely think so too. And first time Lasix, she did do well. I just have always kind of maintained the thought that Tecalita does a little bit better with longer distances, like the mile, like the 7 furlongs. And yeah, she does have a good bottom now cutting back, but so does the first time starter Toby
No
Girl
doubt.
last time. I think she got a lot of schooling, a lot of experience from 7 furlongs, and now she should be poised on the cut back to 6 furlongs. But I think tactically it's a very interesting race.
Yeah.
I'm just going with a bit of a better price,
Sure.
but we do have some this is a fantastic race here. You kind of gave a look to the number 3, Aiden's Ragdoll,
Yeah.
who seems to be consistently
Yeah, with the
improving.
scratch of the 7, Perfect Wife, who I thought was going to take quite a bit of play. We'll wait another day for her. But Aiden's Ragdoll, I see some improvements. I know that buyer went from 58 to 52 last time. Visually, though, I think she's getting better. The Lasix goes on. She's going to get the right kind of setup. I like the way she sustained a run 2 races back. I know she was beaten by Riley's Choice in that. I like the improvement out of her and even Squan's Kingdom. These are two that I think are getting better right now.
And Aiden's Ragdoll is the type of filly who she's always been really respected by the betting public early. She opens up at short prices each and every time. I don't know what it is, but I know the connections have always liked her. I can remember even before her first start going back and watching the OBS work sale
Yeah.
or work at the sale, and I was extremely impressed. So I think this is a filly that's going to continue to get better. Riley's Choice. What do you make of her last performance?
Yeah.
She was a dud first time out. I mean, not to be too harsh on her.
No, she was. She took a ton of money, hammered down. You see, she was 70 cents to the dollar in her debut, where Tecalita was 22 to 1 in that race. So, what do you make of that? Tecalita certainly has improved. Riley's Choice improved second out, but she had the right kind of trip last time. She caught a field that looked like she was going to be able to clear, and she did it. Now she's got to deal with Toby Girl. Let's see what happens.
All right, that's a very interesting race in the Smart Halo. We get to the third on the Dahlia at 5.5 furlongs for this open $25,000 claiming event. And I think some of these races that are intermingled in between the stakes races are excellent betting races, including this one, because I think the favorite in here is very vulnerable. The 3 Goodbye Sorrow. You and I don't agree.
Well, I like your top selection. I almost went with Dancing Lucy on top. I think Goodbye Sorrow, it's an interesting move. They claim, they hold sway. This horse has got to have some kind of hole in it, I think. You see the horse was running well, then dropped at 12.5 off a left, was running for 12.5 way back in 2014. Something's there. I like the move. They're going to hold her at the level. McCarthy takes her over Monster Sleeping, saying, okay, I'm thinking the connection said this horse she's okay right now. She's got plenty of speed. She's going to love the way this turf course is playing. She does not necessarily need to lead either. And Dancing Lucy, too. She's as game as can be right now. A really, really good claim by Hugh McMahon. She moves outside to inside. She'll be forward a long way.
I just didn't know what to do with Goodbye Sorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, I clearly kind of knew what to do. I just kind of tossed her back to third, just because Danny Gargan, he wins everywhere he goes. I mean, he's a very good outfit. Small sample size with first off the claim with Turf Sprinters, about 9 in the past couple of years, but he's 2 for 9. Negative ROI because they're decently bet. They're good claims. This horse, this filly, she was supposed to win last time out. She was 1 to 2 in that field of 6, and she just could not pass Gaga Over You down to her inside. She just kind of flattened out and maintained at 1 to 2. So that put kind of a bad taste in my mouth to try to beat her with the 5 Dancing Lucy, because she's not that slow. As you said, I think both of these fillies should probably relish this very firm course, but I like the versatility and running style that we see from Dancing Lucy. She can press, she can go lead, she can stalk, she can kind of close a little bit too, and I just think she's a filly that's been in spectacular form this season.
She just grinds at you every step of the way. She doesn't give up. She keys off the right kind of horse. Spectacular Me's like a 2 other than 3 other than kind of mare. So she's hooked the right company, especially in that last race. She comes back kind of quick, but she's been handling. She hasn't missed a dance, and she's been running well every time. So, I like 3-5. I'm going to throw the 10 Loya in. I like the way she overcame a trouble 2 races back. I don't really know. I know the Buyers Point aren't up to par with a couple of these. I think she's a little bit better than what those numbers say.
I agree. I'm going to use her on the ticket too. In the 9s, Blake's Magic, who's kind of dabbled with sprinting on the synthetic up there at Presque Isle. Her most recent turf event was going a mile, but I think this is probably her best distance on the turf. So a really competitive, good betting race there as we approach the 4th race, the James F. Lewis III Stakes, 6 furlongs on the main track for the boys' rendition of these 2-year-old races. And Keith, it kind of looks like, at least in my opinion, the road goes between El Arib and potentially Rockshaw.
Yeah, El Arib was just.
We'll see his replay. Let's watch.
Let's go ahead and watch it. Let's go watch the replay of El Arib last time out. Breaking the maiden here emphatically by over 8 lengths. I'll let you talk about this, Gabby. This is your video. And McCarthy was just, he was into El Arib around the turn. It's not like he set a rated pace, but everything clicked. The race prior, he was a little bit sluggish, but today he was definitely into it a little bit more. And you see the stride. He's just gobbling up ground, pulling away. A strong 10-1. We just don't see 2-year-olds
I was going to say
go
the same
10-1 over this course, no matter what.
We never see that. 2-year-olds running that quickly, we don't see it. But the one thing I will say, and I could have even shown the break, Trevor was relentless in getting this horse to the lead
No
coming
doubt.
out of the
No,
gate.
he
I
was. He
mean,
stayed on him
he
every
was
step of the
rubbing
way.
and scrubbing
Yep.
immediately coming out of the gate. So it almost made me think that maybe Cal Lynch said, all right, let's send this horse, gain some confidence on the lead. There's not a lot of speed signed up here.
Yeah.
Go.
Absolutely.
And what's the strategy going to be today? Because he's probably not the fastest
No,
early horse in
and,
here.
and this is where I think it's just going to be to his benefit. He's got other horses that are just going to leave. You've got Charlestown Speed and Dennis's Diamond, Decos are running to love you. They're quick early. I think he's going to go ahead and send and get position, and then he'll just take a little relaxing hold, a little breather maybe to 3/8, and then mid-turn, here we go. Let's go ahead and circle and go, and I think he'll just go ahead and get it done. Rockshaw's interesting. A good race last time, showed good tactical speed. Didn't break super sharp, showed a good acceleration in hand to reach, contention, and moved when he needed to move, held on late to beat a horse that came back to win. He's going to have to maybe make the first move into that wicked pace. I think Ella Reed will be able to kind of set his sights on him and wear him down late.
I could see that because I think there's not to discount anybody in here, but I do think there are a couple horses that might have a bit of cheap speed in here, so they could probably go set those fast fractions. And Rockshaw will probably, as you said, it looks like he might be able to make the lead a little bit too early, whereas Ella Reeb might have a more preferred running style and delayed. But I did, going back and watching Rockshaw's last replay, I love the fact that he looked a little bit keen on the backstretch a little bit. First time blinkers on, but Ricardo Santana did a fantastic job in kind of getting him to rate, settle a little bit. And I thought that is kind of a good omen looking forward, especially with so much speed signed up. He exited that race with a really quick bullet workout at Churchill. I'm friends with some of the clockers there, said that was really a visually impressive workout. And his last race, I do think it kind of set up for him, but who's to say this race won't set up for him, too?
He definitely move up off of the first two races. He's going second time blinkers a day. Maybe they tweak him a little bit. What I like is that sharp burst. He's got it. I mean, maybe he may throw a knockout punch as the field, enters the stretch to the 3/16 and opens up on Ellery. He certainly could do that. He's got a good turn of speed. High roller, a horse maybe with not the kind of speed as the other two we've talked about. But, boy, a really good visually sharp debut September the 11th. I liked a little bit of a layoff, give him a little bit of time. He's working great coming into this race. A sustainable run that you usually don't see from two-year-old firsters as well, the way he did it. He did it professionally, was out wide and just kept on chugging. I like him in here. I think he can kind of run up behind Ella Reed.
Now, I didn't use this horse in the top 4, but he keeps haunting me. He's haunting me in my sleep. The 1-2 Charlies. He just kind of gives, I know he broke his maiden against maiden claimers. He was third against Allowance Company, but No Dozing came back to run fourth in the Breeders' Futurity. He's a very talented horse. O Dionysus has been fantastic lately. I won a stake at Parks lately. So if you're looking for maybe a crazy long shot to throw into some exotics, I think he might be valuable in here.
Yep.
All right, that is the 4th race as we get to the Dickey Small. 9 furlongs on the main track, and there's kind of a running theme throughout the afternoon, and we might have some vulnerable favorites. And I think the one Tommy Macho is definitely one to really focus on. You have to have an opinion on this horse. Either you think that he's going to rebound off the Kelso, and he's the same horse, or he's not.
Yeah, this race, the complexion changed a little bit, though, Gabby. With the scratch of the 10, he's a chance. Now, the pace is going to be a little bit different. Admiral's War Chest may be able to go ahead and clear. I think that allows the 14 horse of Joe Bravo's Amy's Holiday to go up and maybe pressure. Tommy Macho is going to get a good trip down inside the mile lane. He's got speed enough to stay close to these horses he's run against. Clearly better when you really kind of go down the running line, Frosted Financial Modeling. I'm a little bit worried. I thought I know he had to lay off last time. I thought he'd run a little bit better. He's hammered down, and was lower odds than Tamarcuz, who won the Breeders' Cup Mile. I expected a little bit better effort. He's going to make a move in the mile and 8th is my big question mark. I think he makes the run, kind of like Rockshaw going the 6th in the race. I think Name Changer is a horse that just wants to keep going and going and going. And the way he overcame a little bit of early adversity around the first turn, he was bumped and steady, made almost 2 or 3 moves in that race and just kept on going. He's moving the right direction. I was against him last time out, but late in his 3-year-old year, we see these horses getting better and better. I think he's ready to hit he's hitting his top stride right now.
I agree. Do you go with a questionable horse that you don't know what to do with, like the horse Tommy Macho, who he was just kind of a dud last time out. He just kept on picking up the pieces and just kind of kept on going from there, whereas Name Changer, he's faced older company twice, and he's run them into the ground. Last time out, he won by over 5. When he faced older company at Parks, he won by 11. So I'm going with the new flavor, the up-and-comer versus Tommy Macho. But as going back to Tommy Macho, he was sidelined after the Fred Hooper due to a knee injury. He came back, and again, the Kelso, he's just going to have to improve upon that performance. Sometimes you don't see them be the same type of horse. But an interesting one that we have to talk about is a 4 Irish Straight, because the first time on the main track, it was an originally scheduled turf race, was run on the main track that day. Grand Motion decided to keep this horse in the race, and he won by 8. What do you do with that race?
Yeah, I read something, and I believe it was the Racing Form. I'm not sure and it was close. Maybe maybe I should have run him on the dirt a little bit sooner. Yeah, number wasn't great. Time out, just kind of average. A little heavier track at Parks, but just the way that he did it, it makes you think, hey, he's got room to improve. Once again, he's got the right kind of positioning. He's going to get a good trip. He's going to be able to save a lot of ground. It's a step up, a major step up for him in dirt company than that off the turf 3 other than. Let's just see. I can't take him on top, underneath in supers and tries.
But here's an interesting fact. English Channel, he is by English Channel, but he's out of that Polish number mare, Irish Sovereign, who was a dirt sprinter. So she had a tremendous dirt pedigree. On top of that, this horse is a half-brother to Irish Warcry, who recently, last Friday, broke his maiden first time out for Grand Motion on the dirt.
He was another one of those 10 and change horses that
he was an impressive maiden winner. So there's some pedigree to work off of that would suggest he'll be all right on the dirt. We also have, this is a crazy race. We have Tommy Macho, we have Name Changer, we have Golden Soul, who ran in the Derby, who has since been on the turf. So it's a very interesting rendition of the Dickie Small, but I agree with you, a key scratch of the 10. He's a chance in here to change kind of the dynamics of the race. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at my pick 6 and Keith's pick 6 and a late pick 5. So still much more action to come right after this.
January 28th at Gulfstream Park, an icon takes flight. The world's richest thoroughbred horse race. 12 of the sport's finest horses. One race. $12 million on the line. Watch, wager, witness. Go to PegasusWorldCup.com for more.
Welcome back to Today at the Races, presented by Fidelity First. Now, race 6, Safely Kept, does kick off that 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6. We have a carryover in that wager over $16,000 today. We will start off with, I guess, my ticket. We'll start off with my ticket here. And I kept it around $50 for the play today. Going to be using 3 horses by 3, singling on Flash Phelps, especially with the scratch of Chamois. I was going to try to beat him with that horse, but he is scratched. So singling on him with the 2-8 in the DeFrancis Dash, Ivana fallen off a lot, and XY Jet. I think race 10 is a spread race, so I'm going to be throwing everything pretty much in there, and then capping it off with the 5-7. I like Candida H in the Geisha as well. So let's take a look at Keith's ticket and see how they compare. We have the same single.
We're very similar. You see the 9 and the 2-8. Yeah, we're along the same lines there where we can kind of cut this ticket down. 1, 2, 8, 9. I think the road goes through the New York Shippers. Then we're going race 7. We'll take 2 horses, singling Flash Phelps. Even the way this turf course has been playing, I think he's got a little bit more speed than what he maybe shows, and he can go ahead and take game. 9th race down to 2, 10th. Absolute spread. We're going to try to get it done with 3 in the last, $67.20.
I like it. Okay, we have the same singles. Hopefully we can at least get that one home. We get to the 6, though, Safely Kept, and I agree with you. I think the road goes between some of these New York shippers, one of them being Malibu Stacy, who recently ran a really good second behind Lightstream, who's had a decent, a very nice campaign actually for Brian Lynch. And I think she was just beaten by a better horse, and she completely outran her odds in the Raven Run.
Yes, she did. Overcame a little bit of trouble. She was on the better part of the track for the most part. Looked like that day everything was out in the center of the track. She got good position. She was able to beat my top selection back in an allowance race at Saratoga on August the 18th, but I'm just going to flip-flop those 2 off of that race. I think Kelso Kate is really, really fast. I wish she drew middle of the pack or towards the outside. She might have to be used a little bit early. I think she has a distinct advantage. The horse I fear that might press her a little bit is, believe it or not, the 14 to 30 to 1 shot for first time off the claim for Mario Saray. If she can kind of go get position, I don't think she necessarily needs to lead Kelso Kate, is what I'm getting at. I like the way she's improved since that August 18th race. She did all the dirty work in there. She looks like a different filly right now. I think she's going to get the right kind of flow today.
And we do see Malibu Stacy. She defeated her at last time out at 7 furlongs. But this is where it kind of gets tricky, because I agree with you. Sometimes you can't just look at what's in black and white. Yes, Malibu Stacy got the better of her at 7 furlongs. You are inclined to think, well, maybe Kelso Kate doesn't want to go any bit farther than 6.5 furlongs. But sometimes at 7 furlongs, and you and I discussed this yesterday, it gives them the ability to kind of create separation from the rest of the field, talking about a fast horse, especially down on the inside.
Yeah, and she's going to have to break what she's done in the past. She actually toyed with a horse that was down to her inside last time. What I'm thinking is going to happen today, let her come out if Grider lets her go. And if Hector Caballero is hell-bent on just going to the lead on the outside with a 14, just take back an angle around her. And the center of the track has been fine. We've seen the dirt course playing. It's been actually favoring, I think, outside loopers and sweepers for the most part. We had a horse yesterday, a horse we liked at a price, pretty much go wire to wire, but I don't mind being in the center of the track right now.
No, that's really where everybody's kind of staying.
Yeah.
So that's a very excellent point there, and maybe that could play to the advantage of a horse like Tacrease, who does kind of look like she'll make that wide sweeping run. She's going to need pace. The only thing that I kind of don't like about her last couple of races is that, yes, she's been against much tougher. Is that why she's found herself so far back? I mean, she used to have a little bit of tactical speed.
Yeah, bigger field. She hits a bigger field today. I don't know if she's like kind of breaking a little slow and then just shuffling herself back with these bigger fields, and she can't get position, because in the shorter field she was able to kind of stay within 4 or 5 of it around the turn. Now she's dropping further back. We know McLaughlin, when he comes in here, he means business. I think he's like almost close to 40% lifetime when he comes in to Laurel. Tail for Ruby's the other horse I'm going to use for Barclay Tag, kind of just killing people at the windows, but she is getting better. Third off of a layoff. She's going to get a good trip from just off of it.
All right, one of my favorite races of the day. Up next, the race 7, City of Laurel Stakes, 7 furlongs on the main track. We do have a couple of scratches. I think a key scratch of the 10, Awesome Speed, who figured to take some money and was coming off a layoff. Now we have a very interesting horse in here in the 6, Hot Seat. And we'll go back and look at this horse's replay. And this was last time out on the 11th of October at Parks. And I wanted to show this horse kind of, well, on the backside actually, but he breaks sharply, and Paco just kind of puts his hands down, as he usually does, and let this horse go where he needs to go. The other riders are kind of trying to take back. You can see actually another horse shuffling back and the rider losing his irons. But the impressive thing that I found about this horse is when they're going into the turn, we completely missed it, but he ceded the lead. He was passed on the backstretch. And it didn't faze him whatsoever. He just kept on going.
Yeah, he didn't care one bit. And,
look at him. It's a paid workout.
Yeah, it absolutely was. We just don't know how good this horse is. I mean, he's shown an awful lot the first 2. I'm going to use him. I think he just is that good. We've seen the mare. She used to run around here. Grecian Wings was a good allowance horse. I think she did win a restricted stakes up in New York, and everything she's thrown, it could win. Short, long, turf, dirt, it doesn't matter. This is obviously the best one. It looks like they got a 2-year-old on the way by Bodemeister. Hot Seat, I'm going to think he's this good. They're going to have to maybe get to the bottom of it today, but I can't wait to find out.
Okay, and you looking at some other prices, I'm going to be using the 7 Hammers Vision in the mix, and he's a horse that will definitely get overlooked because his performances primarily come on the turf. But I think through and through, he's just a talented horse. I mean, he's faced some good company on both surfaces, especially Cadiron. 2 starts back on a muddy track at Belmont. Even prior to that, he won in the slop, going 7 furlongs. He hasn't been on a fast main track since his 2-year-old season when he finished 3rd in the Saratoga Special behind Exaggerator. So he will be overlooked, but he's got a little bit of tactical speed, and I think he could run well here for Brian Lynch. He doesn't ship in for nothing.
Yeah, as you said, overlooked. I think he is going to be overlooked a little bit at the windows, just for the fact it looks like he's better on turf and maybe a wet surface.
Yeah.
But you can't say that he's gotten better.
You don't know.
No,
There's
you
an unknown
don't really
factor.
know. There is which is going to help your price. So if you trusted him, you're going to get a square price, maybe 8, 10, 12 to 1. Rated R Superstar is a horse that I'm going to forgive the last race. Hit the gate when coming out of it. He's an interesting type. I think he's going to fall through the cracks, through the windows. I think he might come down a little bit off to 10 to 1, but going back, I think 7 furlongs is a perfect distance for him. I like the way he closed and reeled in. Awesome Banner was just kind of the horse for course down at Gulfstream at the time. Was a loose lead. It wasn't set up by a duel. Any horse can close that kind of ground at Gulfstream. I like. I think they can go ahead and transition it here. Rated R Superstar to come running.
All right, Sharp Azteca, of course, is probably the horse to beat. He hasn't been seen since August, since George Navarre being quoted grabbing his quarter and just having some time to recoup. But that is the horse to beat.
No doubt.
You know, again, one of the many favorites on the card that you're going to have to make a decision on. Tommy Macho, Sharp Azteca, XY Jet, and the Francis Dash. We'll get to the 8th race, the Dahlia Turf Course at a mile and a 16th. 3 other than allowance, optional claimer. This is where your and my single comes into play. Flash Phelps.
Flash Phelps, you gotta love him. I mean, named after one we just saw Rod Dog, Dave Robin, our announcer, go by. One of his DJ buddies, right? Flash Phelps, and he's just, you know, he's just a cool horse. He's been reeling him off since gelded. 3rd start back off a little bit of a layoff. We saw him get the job done here at Maryland Million Day. I think he comes right back. The scratch of Chamois, you kind of aged English Minister, maybe Grandiflora. I just think he's a better horse, and he can go ahead and wear him down. I don't think the way this turf course is playing, we talked about earlier, he's got enough speed to stay close.
He 100% does. I mean, in the past, he used to be able to even go to the lead sometimes, and I think he's gotten away from that, and that's where he's come into so much trouble, both in the Find and in the Commonwealth. He was just, you know, really darkened by troubled trips, and even Victor Carrasco saying in the post-race interview when he won last time out, saying, I'm just keeping him wide and trying to keep him out of trouble because I know he's the best horse in the race. And maybe that's going to be the case with Flash Phelps once again today. But so you and I single on that horse. Beyond him, I kind of like the 7 Fury of the Norseman just because of his tactical speed. He should be able to just stalk the pace. Some old class horses, I know you like the 2 English Minister in there at a little bit of a price. But you and I both agree there on the single. We'll get on to the last 3 races of the card. The 9th, the feature race of the day, the Frank J. DeFrancis Memorial Dash presented by Maker's Mark. 6 furlongs onto the main track. And we must start the conversation off with XY Jet. And just for visual purposes, we'll go back and look at his performance in the Dubai Golden Shaheen back in March at Maidan. And this horse was absolutely relentless in defeat. And he had, you know, that was kind of preluded by a fantastic campaign down in Florida. What do you make of the Vosburg? What do you do with him today?
You know, we've read about he's had some injuries and stuff. They had to take care of some stuff with him. He came back, caught a muddy surface. Got pressured early, was able to shake clear, and then reeled in late. You know, I'll give him a little forgiveness. He gets some help in this race.
Gets a lot of help.
He gets a lot of help with some scratches. I'm still a little bit leery. The barn has not been really firing of late like they used to fire. I think he's on like 1 for 8 in Maryland the last couple of years too when he comes in here. I think he's a little bit vulnerable. He's got to deal with Pomeroy's package down to his inside, who's pretty quick in his own right. So if he's not on his A game, they really can't put him away and open up. We'll see. I think Ivana fallen over a lot as a horse that's, you know, he's just a cool horse. He wins. He does nothing but win 5 of his last 6. He was shorter odds last year in the Breeders' Cup Sprint than Stall Walking Dude. I think you were going to get higher odds on him today. He looks like he's come back and hasn't run as quick. I think he's got a little bit more on the tank. Let's go ahead and see. And I think he's just going to go ahead and stalk and pounce.
Well, this is my approach, and maybe this is kind of unwarranted, but I looked at this race and I was thinking, okay, why do I get this feeling that XY Jet is vulnerable, even though he had excuses in the Vosburg?
Sure.
They went extremely fast.
Really
he was
quick.
pressing Green Grotto. That was his first race off since March. You know, he had some hiccups in between. It was a muddy track. There are a lot of tangible factors in that race that would merit that kind of performance. I like the fact that Ivan Falanavalot is coming here for connections. They have confidence with him. They're saying, yes, we can tackle grade 3 company. We're stepping him back into the grade 3 waters, and we're shipping to the East Coast for the first time. Whereas I feel that, you know, XY Jet, he ran the Vosburg. He went around the Breeders' Cup. They didn't think that he was going to be ready for the Breeders' Cup.
Right.
Now they're finding a very soft spot for him today. Not a soft spot because it is a grade 3 race, softer.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just feel like there's more confidence in the momentum of Ivan Falanavalot, if I can continue to say his name correctly.
I mean, Ivan fallen over. And yeah, he's like a Remington Oaklawn.
Yeah.
XY Jet, he's a Gulfstream horse. I mean, he's loved it there. So you got to worry about, can they carry their track? I just give a little edge. Just something there with, as you said, with XY Jet. I'm going to have to see it to believe it. He's going to have to get back on that form for me to believe it. He may do it today.
He
So
could
we'll see.
wire before the field even blinks, right? I mean, because he's capable of being that fast. So it is an interesting race. It's a very interesting race despite some of the scratches. And with some of the scratches, I still do like the 7 rocking on by. He is honest as the day is long. When he runs on the dirt, no matter the company, he shows up. I mean, you look at him running against Allowance Company, Grade 3 Company, and the Maryland Sprint, still hitting the trifecta. He's a very good horse.
He's a very good horse, and I think he's came back. Didn't he used to run for like maiden 12.5 or maiden 25
Yeah.
way
He's
back? And the way
climbed
he
up
just
that
kind of
ladder.
climbed up the ladder, yeah, it's huge. He'll get the right kind of flow. I think he's going to offer your best kick. He's been a little bit unlucky in some of his races, finding some traffic. I don't know if he's going to win it, but yeah, definitely underneath I'm going to be using him.
All right, the 10th race and non-winners is 3 Lifetime on the Dahlia at the Flat Mile, $35,000 claimer. And this is where you and I both spread in the pick 6 because I think there is value abound in here. And looking at your top selection, you're going with the 7 Stormnet. I think
No, they
that's
have us
my pick.
They've got us flipped.
Yeah,
all right,
I went with the 7
all right, we'll
Stormnet.
go ahead and talk about Stormnet. Go right ahead. I'm not
just
stealing your selections. Come on.
No, I know. We're both kind of going crazy in this race,
Yes.
though. But Stormnet, I like him. His last race, yes, he was steady at that. He had some trouble in his last race. No real excuse 2 starts back. But he should be able to get a decent amount of pace in this big field today. And he's shown in the past that he can close into the pace on days that the grain of the track was against him. And in particular, bopping and a weaving, when he went wire to wire 3 starts back in September, that was a case in point. Even Markakis, when he went wire to wire in that race, he closed into those fractions and he still had a good showing. So I think there's a little bit left of him today.
No doubt about it. He's a sneaky kind of horse. I believe I've got him in that pick 6 ticket on the spread ticket.
Good.
I like the 8. I like Steel Sky. I'm looking at this race, and I'm not finding a ton of quality speed. So, Daniel Santana, if you're listening, ride this like it's
Go.
4.5 for the first quarter of a mile. Get out there, clear, drop over to the fence, and dictate. Maybe Bay Bridge will go, but I think he was hung out a little bit wide last time, and they had some trouble through the stretch. This surface is going to hit him perfectly, and I think he's just a stayer in this type of race on this type of racetrack.
Cation or Catane,
Catane, yeah.
however you say his name. This is a horse that I really, really wanted to pick him on top because I think he's a horse that will improve stretching out on the turf as he kind of closed last time out sprinting. Looking at statistics, though, for Katie Voss, 1 for 20 with this type of move, stretching out from sprints to routes on the turf. So that was just I'm going to be using him protectively, but that stat made me want to pursue other options in this wide open field.
Yeah, I thought his last race was actually okay. I was dead set against him. He was late, but he did show some run. And against this field, I think he fits holding pretty much at the level. I'm going to use him 8, 6, 9, and 2. I know we got a minute to go over the last.
Let's get to the last race.
Yeah.
The Geisha going the flat 1 turn mile onto the main track. And this came up a very, very tough race as well. And oddly enough, I think you and I both land on the same horse here.
You've got
I have the
Candida H.
5741. 5741 for me. The
Okay.
5 Candida H. Is that who you land on?
I used her. I like Chapel of Chimes. Go
Oh,
ahead.
okay.
Yep.
So still flip-flop there. Chapel of Chimes, what do you like about her?
Chapel of Chimes, I just think is the true miler, the true distance type of horse. My biggest concern on her guy, she's been running a lot of late, and she's had a real busy
14 times
schedule.
this year.
Yeah, she was hampered by a slower pace last time. I think she's going to get a little bit more flow. I like the race 2 back in the Maryland Million. She had more left in the tank in that race, 1 ridden out. I think Andrew Wolfson, he's capable. I think he can go ahead and draft over and save some ground. They'll be doing the dirty business up front. I think she can come kind of reel him in. I think she's the best sustainable runner at this distance.
I could see that. I felt the same way about Candida H. I know she sprinted 6 furlongs and such, but she's capable of winning at distances upwards of a mile and a 16th. So I really do think that she prefers a 7 furlongs, 1 turn mile range here versus the 6 furlongs that she's kind of been at. And you have to just completely discount her last race on the turf. turf. Quickly, want to go over the replay for CVGB that you wanted to show, but of course we have several
Yeah.
who are coming out of that race in Rockin' JoJo and Lovable Lady.
Yeah, let's go over that one real quick. And you see CBGB, the 10 horse, out of the gate in the pink colors for trainer Phil Schoenthal. I think this might have been first time for Schoenthal, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, out of the service barn in the Maryland Million Distaff. And she's out for the lead, and she looks like she's going to go ahead. Let's go ahead and clear the field. And then all of a sudden,
Decides not to.
no, we're gonna go ahead and let horses go to the inside and to the outside, and we're gonna have to just go ahead and rate back right here. All of a sudden, just
Very
I don't know if
strange
something went wrong there or something. It was just kind of an odd move by Toledo, allowing Lovable Lady to go off. Maybe they wanted her to get a target, and she was just a little bit too keen. Showing this move and going back to the head of the stretch, if we can fast forward it, maybe if we can. I know we're running a little short on time. But she does make another move back into it. It's pretty game. Lovable Lady, another one that was just real keen. Look at her mouth wide open, dragging the rider. She repels the first challenges and kicks away, Lovable Lady does, and it just weakens a little bit late. So talking to trainer Mary Epler, Lovable Lady, I think she maybe wants to keep her covered up. Will she relax? Can she relax? She's not really worried about the distance. It's just she gets super, super keen on the front end when she gets daylight, and then she kind of maybe just uses herself up.
I think as the distances get longer, it's absolutely key for a Lovable Lady to get covered up and just have the ability to relax, because she probably is better at 6 furlongs. She can win at a mile, 100%. I have confidence in that. She just made the lead way too early and couldn't sustain that run.
Yep, and you saw CBGB down to the inside, was able to keep coming again. I think she stretched out. Breeding suggests she should be able to handle the mile. Interesting race. Race 11, we didn't mention Lexington Street, who showed such a lot of promise at 2. She hasn't come back. A wide open field. I think trying to get through it with 3 on my pick 6 ticket. You went a little bit further than that. Love to be able to have the all
I
button in
went
that.
2.
Oh, did you really?
I just went with 2.
Oh
I
my
just went
gosh.
5-7 in there. I know.
Good
It's
luck
going
to
to
you.
be tough. So if grab some friends, play a good ticket in the pick 6. Again, we have those 3 carryovers. Wanted to mention once again, Super High 5 carryover in the first race, $4,700. Rainbow 6 carryover over $16,000, and of course that late pick 5 carryover, $3,700. We've got an excellent racing card on tap. Carryovers, beautiful weather, brewing bourbon. Couldn't ask for more. Come out and join us at Laurel Park. I'm done talking. How about you?
We're all done. Enjoy the day, everybody. You can't get any better than this. Get outside, enjoy it, grab a couple cocktails, make some money, have some fun.
And best of luck on today's card.